Okay. Hi, let's start with the cardiovascular system today. Cardiovascular system. In the cardiovascular system, there are mainly two major parts, that is heart and the blood vessels. Heart is the central pump and the blood vessels is the conducting system in the cardiovascular system. So heart pumps the blood and blood vessels which makes that blood to reach each and every part of our body. So the functions of the cardiovascular system, we can say that it helps in the circulation of blood, supply nutrients and gases to the tissues, remove metabolic end products from the tissues. Coming to the physiological anatomy of cardiovascular system, in the heart is located in the middle mediastinum in the thorax, that is mediastinum, that is between two lungs, and the base of the heart is broad superior portion of heart, and the apex is inferior end, tilts to the left, tapers to the point. So approximately we can say it is about the size of our fist. So this is the position of our heart, and it is between two lungs. It weighs around 300 grams, and mammalian heart has four chambers, that means two atria and two ventricles. And the contraction of heart is known as systole and relaxation is known as diastole. Coming to the anatomical features, there are two atria. Atria are thin-walled, separated by interatrial septum. And the ventricles, there are two ventricles and they are thick-walled and separated by interventricular septum. So we have to know in this state that the ventricles are more musculated and they have more muscular fibers comparing to the atria. And there is an atrioventricular fibrous ring is present between the atria and the ventricles. See here the structure. There is right atrium. Between the right atrium and the right ventricle, we have tricuspid valve. And from the left atrium and the left ventricle, we have mitral valve. And there is pulmonary valve and the aortic valve are present between the right ventricle and in the left ventricle. From the right ventricle, the pulmonary artery arises, and from the left ventricle, we have the aorta. So, the atrioventricular valve, they are tricuspid, bicuspid, and semilunar valves are pulmonary and aortic. The valves of the heart allows the blood flow only in one direction and which open and close passively with the pressure gradient. Means when there is a pressure gradient in the chambers, that will open or close according to the pressure variations, and the closure of valve produce a heart sound. That means the closure of AV valve produce first heart sound and semilunar valve produces second heart sound. And the cardiovascular system is major division. There are two major divisions. They are the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit. Pulmonary circuit or the pulmonary circulation majorly process in the right side of the heart that carries blood to lung for gas exchange. And systemic circuit is present in the left side of heart, supplies blood to all organs of the body. Again, we can say the pulmonary circuit is in the right side and the systemic circuit is in the left side. And Coming to the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit, we can say that pulmonary circuit, that means that is in the carries blood to lungs for gas exchange, that gives blood to the lungs, and systemic circuit which supplies blood to all organs, means that is longer. The systemic circuit is longer and the pulmonary circuit is shorter. Small circuit means from heart to lung, that is the pulmonary circuit. Systemic circuit is, it is longer because it supplies blood to the all part of the body. Coming to the heart wall, the walls of the muscles and the fibers of heart, there are three main layers are present in the heart wall. They are epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium. The epicardium is the visceral pericardium, that is the serous membrane covers the heart. The myocardium is the thick muscular layer of heart, and the endocardium is smooth inner lining. The outer pericardium, we can say, that is having two, again it is divided into two layers. They are parietal pericardium and visceral pericardium. And between the parietal pericardium and the visceral pericardium, there is a space that is known as pericardial cavity and pericardial fluid. That's around 5 to 30 ml of fluid is present inside the pericardial cavity. And the myocardium, there are three types of muscles are present in the myocardium. They are pacemaker fibers, conducting fibers, and the contractile fibers. The inner endocardium, that is a single layer of endothelial cells. So let's see the structure here again. We can see the pericardial cavity here and the fibrous layer, serous layer. In between there is a small gap and that is filled with the pericardial fluid. Coming to the cardiac muscle. The cardiac muscles are elongated branched cells containing around 1 to 2 centrally located nuclei. They are more like a ribbon. It's not like cylindrical. It is more like a ribbon-like structures and which contain actin and myosin myofilaments. And the cells, which is cells, the two cells when we join, that forms that specialized cell-to-cell connections known as intercalated disc, means it is two invaginated and there are contractile in structure. So electrically, the cardiac muscle of the atria and the ventricle behave as a single unit because the cardiac muscle possesses gap junctions. Because of gap junctions, the atrial musculature and the ventricular musculature acts as a single unit, and that is known as syncytia, atrial syncytia and ventricular syncytia. And the mitochondria of the cardiac muscle comprise around 30% volume of the cell versus 2% in skeletal muscle. So very, very minute quantity is present in the skeletal muscle comparing to the cardiac muscle. Coming to the different type of cardiac muscle, there are the contractile fibers. They are the working cells which is contractile in nature. And there are conducting system, that is the major important thing in our muscle, cardiac muscle, then which include the SA node, AV node, atrioventricular bundle, that is bundle of His, and the Purkinje fibers. And it possesses the property of automaticity. And the most important thing is pacemaker cells. So the pacemaker and conducting fibers together, we can say the conducting system. That means which produces the impulses automatically and which help to conduct the impulses. So The conducting system includes like a SA node, internodal tracts, AV node, bundle of his Purkinje fibers. And electrically, they are having unstable resting membrane potential and they are having less cross striations. And coming to the contractile fibers, the atrial and ventricular fibers are known as the contractile fibers, which are separated by atrioventricular ring. So this atrioventricular ring is a fibrous structure which won't allow the electrical impulses to pass on very quickly. So which produces a stoppage between the atria and ventricle. So the atrial syncytia and ventricular syncytia is present, and that is present because of the gap junction. Coming to the vascular system of the heart, the atrial system consists of venous system and the atrial system. So that means aorta, artery, arteriole, capillary, venule, veins, and vena cava. This is the structure of our atriovenous system of blood vessels, starting with aorta and ends in the vena cava. So the walls of the aorta and the arteries, the big vessels having 3 layers, that is tunica adventitia is the outer layer, which is a connective tissue layer. Tunica media is the middle layer, which is having smooth muscles, and tunica intima is the inner layer, which is made up of endothelium. So this is the structure of major vessels, big vessels. But coming to the capillary, these structures will very narrow. Sometimes that only the endothelium will be present.